All right, guys, welcome back to part 2 on the LS swapped STI color change catastrophe here. All right, so we're gonna start with taking all the panels off of the car, and we'll start with the shell first and stripping, sanding, etc. Get that ready for the next stage, and then move on to the loose pieces and so on. All right, so here we go.
Look at that. I guess that's not bad. It's not bad, but you just got a lot of sealing.
Yeah. Over there. That does look sick. Alright guys, we are a day into the prep on the LS swapped STI. So I've got one door section done. It's a lot of work because wherever it was compromised and something's got to stick to it, or it's an exterior surface like this where the window glue's on, we've got to get that right down to bare metal to be able to guarantee that it's going to hold up and not just pull the paint off once we urethane the window in. So yeah, this is definitely a mission, but this is one day of progress here, and it is progress, needless to say. The objective is anywhere that had this primer has to be removed along with this primer. So all this gray has to come off. In the door jambs, as you can see, that first line is original paint. This is a repaint, and then this is our paint. We just put our paint over the original paint in the door jambs, which is great because that would be a lot of work getting to bare metal in there, along with the trunk jam as well. But still, this is a mission. I mean, for the most part, this section of the quarter panel is essentially good to get primer on, but then we've still got to do this port window here, get all that off. Everything along the edge here has to go in to at least about the first rib there, which was our cutoff when we filler primered it, because we had the doors on when we did that. So just gonna keep working away on it, and I'll show you the progress as we go. All right, here we are with the paint mishap STI, ready to give her a go with some epoxy primer here. So I'm gonna get a couple coats on this. All right, back with some more progress on the paint mishap Corvette swapped STI. So we have a few doors that are RFP, not ready for paint, but ready for primer. Trunk, very intricate, very difficult, a bit of a time consumer. Bumper coming along nicely. Everything kind of came off different. So when we had these in filler primer, a lot of them were laying in front of this bay door, so they got the UV a little different depending on which direction they were facing, which is funny now going through them, stripping them, and seeing how the solvents evaporated from some areas and how it didn't from some other areas. So another big assortment of loose pieces here that have been scraped down. These ones adhered pretty well. These didn't have the sealer primer on them, just filler primer, but still cutting into these, you could immediately smell the solvent coming out. Well, I'm gonna get back at sanding, prepping. I don't know if you guys wanna watch me sand prep forever, but this sure feels like forever. So here we go. We'll cut back with some more progress. Here we are back with the car. So we got 3 coats of base and 3 coats of clear on this. It is looking pretty good. Nibs here and there as expected, but nothing we can't handle. Definitely a lot happier with this finish than how it turned out previously, so this is good progress. So it's actually been a couple days since this was painted, so today we're gonna move it out and move it beside the booth so we can resume using the booth to further prime some more pieces and get them into paint too. Here we are with some RFP bits. This took a lot of work to get up to. This is not like prepping a normal car for paint. The objective in this is you have to remove every single trace of that primer that was under the paint. So it's not just like scuffing it up to be able to apply a base or a primer to, has to be absolutely removed. As for the underside of the hatch along with the doors, It never got the contaminated primer. This is absolutely fine to be left as is, but because we have to do the whole exterior, I want a clean line at the end of the seam sealer here. So I've gone along and taken all the edge and along with the top of it down to metal, and then sanded all this so that I can have a nice good cling with my new paint. Then with the doors out for primer, they need very little work. Got a little tiny dent right there, so I put a dot on it. And another little tiny dent right there. These just need to be blocked, and then they can go from RF primer to RF paint. Ready for paint. Now, collectively, between everybody that's been helping, and there has been a lot of help, including the owner of the car himself, me going 10 hours a day every single day since this has come here, we are nearing the point of almost having everything ready for primer, but still seems so far away. We have the entire skirts to do, the spoiler, the front bumper, one more fender, the lip, some rear hatch garnish, the shark fin, a door handle, a couple door handle caps. This fender is pretty close, and then this guy is in preparation for paint, so this is block sanding. So we'll cut out here and bring you back when we make a little more progress. Here we are a couple days later with the doors all painted, which is exciting. So today I'm gonna get them back on the car, and then I can move the last wave of stuff in for primer, which is exciting. I've got another good batch ready over there for paint, and we are moving along nicely considering I haven't really had any help on this. My dude has not been very present. And here I am working every day 10 hours a day to get this done, but gotta do what you gotta do. Back with the prep stuff here. So all of this stuff still needs to get into epoxy primer, which is not bad. I can fit this in one shot in the booth there. And then we've got this stuff here, which is actually ready for paint. So that is exciting. Then the last bit that I am preparing for paint currently is the hatch of the car here. So I've already gone over it in 240. I got to work my way up a bit in the grit and get everything all nice and smoothed out. And it is ready for paint too. So I've got a couple more waves going through the booth, and that completes this car again. With the doors out of the booth on the car, just warming up, getting ready to do some epoxy primer on these pieces. This is nice. This is the last of the stuff that needs to be primed. These needed to be reprimed because they had a bunch of pores in the fiberglass that were in too visible of spots to rely on just the epoxy sealer to fix them. So I figured it was smart to reprime those to be safe. Along with these guys didn't make the cut either. All right, now I've got another good batch here into base coat. So everything went pretty good. And now I'm ready to clear, so I'm gonna prepare there. Got a couple loosies there. One little guy did not make the cut. When I was painting, a drop came out of the top of my lid, dropped on there. I waited for it to dry, then I wiped it. It left a bit of a mark. I wet sanded it, and then I was trying to rectify it so it could go into the clear stage. Ultimately, I ended up trying to wipe it before it was completely dry. So this is fine. All it needs to have done now is just be sanded, and then I can put more base on it and back into clear. So I'll save this for the next batch. So I'm gonna go ahead here, prepare for clear, and bring you guys back, show you how it turned out. Here we are all cleared, looking good, no runs, standard issue nibs here and there. Anything that had tape, I got the tape off as soon as I was done, so I don't have any issues later. Yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out. And this means I am down to the last batch of stuff to prepare for paint. It's all been primed. I've just got to sand it all and get it in here. So I'm going to let these chill out over the weekend while I sand away. Start of next week, I'll rotate these out, put what I can on the car, and then move on to the final stuff. Fantastic. Alright guys, today is moving day for the STI, so we've got the big items back on the body here, and it is ready to go back to the owner so he can now again resume his work on the car because it's not exactly finished. As for me, what's left to do, I have one more batch of stuff that I've halfway sanded through getting ready for paint. Into paint, then clear, and I am done this car again. So this was quite a mission compared to the original mission. Originally this took 170 hours this time because how far everything had to go down, including the fiberglass stuff, which it's incredibly intricate. This was almost 300 hours. So this is not normal for just doing a color change, but because all the fiberglass had to go down to gel coat and the body just about all down to bare metal, or at least the previous paint, this was a mission. So I've got 3 good coats of clear on everything. It looks really good. Out the gun, it came out really nice. There is still nibs here and there, which is expected. It's just like a little tiny, yeah, there it is. They're just gonna happen, so I'm not too concerned about those. Here we are with the final piece to sand in preparation for paint. This is very exciting to me. This has been a lot of work and a lot of hours in kind of a short period of time. So we got the bumper done there, another pile over here, final skirt, and the spoiler. Very excited to be at this stage. Here we are with the last batch of stuff, so super pumped on this. What you're seeing here is an epoxy sealer primer. Here and there was some little pinholes that slipped through the first time doing these, so we've been able to tune them up, and that's the need for the use of the sealer primer here. Make sure that our base doesn't sink into any of the little pinholes. It also promotes adhesion of the base coat there. So now we're gonna gear up and get ready for the base. Here we are now with the pieces all in base. I'm just warming back up. Got a little cold last night, so I'm getting ready to clear coat them. Back with everything in clear, so we got 3 good coats on this. Everything's looking good. Spoiler's a little goofy, so it is a little orange peely, but nothing I can't get out. Fender's looking sweet. This was definitely a pretty tight paint session here, like as far as actual room, as you can see. And I've got to get, for the most part, 360 degrees all the way around each one of these parts to get all the edges and stuff like that. So it was very cramped, had to be very careful, but did well and didn't hit anything. So that is great. That's what I'm looking for. So from here, I'm gonna let these guys dry a bit, and then they will get sent back to the car. And the best part about this is these are the last parts. So I am now back to where I started by finishing the car. Alright guys, we're gonna end part 2 of this video here. Thank you for watching. Needless to say, this was definitely a mission going back through the car compared to doing it the first time, which also wasn't incredibly pleasant because of the scenario with the underlying paint in the first place. And then again, here we are ending up almost in the exact same spot. Financially, taking the hit on this was definitely very hard as well. Redoing the car again was thousands in material. Myself, I was 7 weeks on the car without working on customer cars, so that was quite a big hit. I didn't have too much help otherwise, other than the people that were coming in on the weekend, so big thank you to you guys, Ryan, Jay, Keith, and the owner of the car himself, John, for putting in his weekends and spare time to help try and speed this up. So what's next for the car is assemble the pieces, which we're going to be doing with the owner. The car's back at his house now. And then we will come back for a third video on this car when it is like completed, because I know everyone is really excited to kind of get an overall walk around on this car, hear it run, and see all the finishing touches on it. It's definitely going to be one of a kind. And in this second round, I sure learned a lot in my process, and moving forward from here, I feel like things are going to be a little more reliable in what I can expect from myself and what I can expect from the products. In this, and finding the shortcomings of the products we used to use previous, talking to some pros, getting some good advice, switched over most of our stuff now, really stepped our game up a bit. I'd also like to apologize for the video itself. I know it is missing some context here and there, and actually missing some clips here and there. Like I said, I was 10 to 12 hours a day on this, 7 days a week, so my focus in the video aspect of this was probably skewed a little bit with my exhaustion and frustration at the same time. So forgive me for that. I'm sure you guys understand. Try to be more on it moving forward. Usually I'm pretty good. Yeah, I just noticed going through this second part, some of it just kind of happened with very little context to back up what exactly was going on. But I'm sure you guys get the idea. All right, guys, till the next one, thank you very much for watching. Peace.